Hello everyone and welcome to i-nastava. My name is Ankica Šarić and I'm going to be your teacher today. This is an English lesson for the third grade high school students. And in today's lesson, we are going to challenge some stereotypes and biases. You're going to become more aware of the words we use to describe women. You're also going to think about the times when you witnessed gender inequalities, as well as analyze why women protested and the effect of their protest. And last but not least, you're going to prepare an informal presentation about a woman who, in your opinion, changed history. For this lesson, you will need your notebook, something to write with, and a smartphone or a laptop with internet connection. In order to do some exercises, you will have to pause the video. When you see the pause button on the screen, it will be your signal to pause the recording in order to do some exercises. Which of these adjectives would you choose to describe a man and which a woman? Sort them out according to gender into your notebook. Pause the recording here. Are your lists similar to mine? These adjectives are adjectives with gender connotations. These are stereotypes which are difficult to avoid. We have been taught that real men don't show emotions, unlike women who are all about emotions. Read the following sentences and imagine them being said in the workplace. Do they picture women in a positive light? Of course they don't. We shouldn't use them. They make women look very unprofessional. They're even insulting. We should avoid using derogatory words like the ones used here. We wouldn't use these words to describe men, would we? Can you think of some positive adjectives we could use instead? Pause the video and copy the sentences into your notebook, but instead of these derogatory words, use their alternatives with positive meanings. What could we say instead of bossy? Which word did you come up with? Maybe assertive, someone who is confident and knows what she wants. Instead of emotional, we could say passionate, enthusiastic. It sounds better if we say detail-oriented or perfectionist and not high maintenance. If it's difficult for a woman to make up her mind, maybe she's just cautious, careful, because she knows what's on stake. Stubborn is not a very positive adjective. It is much better if we say she's persistent, determined, steadfast. These adjectives are just the tip of an iceberg, and although they don't seem like a big deal, becoming aware of them can mark a starting point of a change. You can raise your hand and choose to challenge inequality, gender bias, stereotypes. We can all work together and break the bias in our families, schools, and communities. Think about some specific things you want to challenge. It can be something you're surrounded by, but you can think of some global issues as well. Imagine you're going to post it on some social media, so it has to be in the form of hashtags. Let me help you a little bit with some examples. Are you familiar with the statement that women are bad drivers, or that they are not cut to be leaders? These are the things we can challenge. Pause the video here. Take some time to think which biases you want to call out, which stereotypes you want to challenge. Compare your hashtags with the ones your colleagues came up with, and then use some on your Instagram account to mark International Women's Day. Remember to raise your right hand to show that you're challenging stereotypes and gender inequality. There are many famous walls around the world. Do you recognize these? The Great Wall of China, the Berlin Wall. We have famous walls in Croatia, the walls of stone. The Trump Wall. I'm sure you have heard of all of them. But have you heard of Women's Wall? Women's Wall is the name of a protest. Why it was named like this, you're going to learn after you read the text. Before reading the text, read the questions first. You're going to answer them while reading. Now copy the bit.ly link Women's Wall or scan the QR code and do the task. You should pause the video now. The protest was organized in southern India on the first day of New Year 2019. Women of different ages and classes formed a 385 miles long wall along the highway to fight for gender equality. According to the Hindu religion, women are not allowed to enter the temples once they are of menstruating age. The Supreme Court ruled in their favor, but nothing changed, so they decided to organize a protest. The protest was supported by 176 social and political organizations, as well as the government. Women from different walks of life took part in the protest, as well as men who formed neighboring wall across the women's wall. To put it simply, women in Kerala were prepared to act against regressive forces due to the fact that they have the highest literacy rate in India. We are moving to the last task. The story goes something like this. You live in a street named after an important woman, and you're going to tell us more about her. If you can't decide who you're going to present, let me help you. Copy the bit.ly link, spin 123 or scan the code. Then spin the wheel and see who you're going to get. Don't worry, you can keep spinning the wheel until you get someone you want to prepare a presentation about. You can pause the video here. Now that you have chosen who you're going to talk about, do a research on her. Check at least 2 different sources. Then write a narration, which you will practice and record later. You can use Vocaroo for recording. Bear in mind that your presentation is aimed at other teenagers, so the language shouldn't be formal. Use spoken English. Don't forget positive adjectives we have done at the beginning of the lesson. The presentation doesn't have to be long, 2 to 3 minutes. Start your story by introducing the street you live in. This is where you have to grab your audience's attention. And here you have some suggestions how you can do it. In the second part, talk about your hero's background and what she did that made her an important historic figure. In the third part, the conclusion, you should be short and memorable. You can quote something she said or simply say why you admire her. For the visual part of the presentation, you can use PowerPoint or you as a class can work on Google Slides and create a joint work. In any case, you yourself need to design just 2 slides and prepare a presentation of your historic figure. The first slide will show your imaginary street named after the woman you're going to talk about. And the second slide, your room inspired by that woman. Something like this. You will record your presentation and add it to your slides as QR codes, or you can turn your PowerPoint into a short video with your audio recording. Pause the video now and start working. Before we finish the lesson, let's check if you have followed all the instructions. Have you consulted different sources while doing research? Have you created an attention grabber instruction? Have you written about your hero's background and accomplishments? And since this is a spoken presentation aimed at other students, I hope you have used spoken English. I'm sure you have checked grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation before putting the QR code of your audio recording onto the slides. I hope you had fun today. Till next time, goodbye.